Welcome to the Lodge. From the riverbanks to the end zones, we're diving deep into everything that matters most to the colony. You're listening to State of the Beavers. I'm your host, Brian, and whether you're a diehard alum, a nature enthusiast, or just here for the ecosystem, we've got you covered. Today on the show, we're breaking down the latest headlines, checking the pulse of the community, and asking the big questions that define our state today. Grab your gear, a beer, and settle in. It's time to gnaw through the noise. This is the State of the Beavers, starting right now.
Hey everyone, and welcome. The best time of the year is finally here, the collegiate postseason. And you know what that means? The betting lines are officially out. So today, we're going to dive in and decode those odds to figure out who the experts really think has the best shot at winning it all.
All right, so let's get right into it. These odds, they're basically a window into the minds of the experts, showing us how these teams stack up. Who are the real powerhouses? And who are the scrappy underdogs that could pull off a surprise? We're going to use the projections to get some answers.
So, here's the game plan. First up, we'll do a quick crash course on how to actually read these odds. Then we'll jump into the quarterfinals, look at the paths to the championship, and wrap it all up by seeing who the top favorites are to take home the trophy. Okay, first things first. Before we can even talk about the teams and the matchups, we've got to make sure we're all speaking the same language. So let's break down what these betting odds are actually telling us. What we're looking at here are what's called money line odds. And really, it's pretty simple. They just show you two things: who's expected to win the game and how much you'd win if you bet on them.
The whole thing really boils down to the little sign in front of the number. See a minus sign? That's your favorite. See a plus sign? That's your underdog. Seriously, that's the core of it. So let's look at a real example to make this crystal clear. You've got Penn State as a minus 300 favorite. That means you'd have to bet a whopping $300 just to win 100. It's the safer bet, sure, but the payout is small. Now flip that. Look at Boise State at plus 240. A $100 bet on them could net you $240 if they manage to pull off the upset. High risk, high reward. Make sense, right?
All right, now that we've got a handle on the odds, let's get to the fun part. Let's break down the bracket and see what these quarterfinal matchups look like. Kicking things off, we've got a classic matchup. Number 12, Boise State versus number 4, Penn State. Now, you look at their records, they both look pretty solid, but the odds tell a different story. Penn State is a heavy favorite at minus 300, and that's probably because they've been tested in a much tougher conference all year long. And you can really see that gap right here. I mean, look at this. It's pretty obvious that the experts are expecting Penn State to handle their business in this one. Okay, moving on to our second game, we've got the number 1 overall seed, Duke, facing off against number 9, SMU. You know, both of these teams have had incredible seasons, but when you look at the odds, well, they're hinting that this one might not be very close.
Yeah, just look at that number. Minus 450. That is huge. That makes Duke the biggest favorite of any team in the entire first round. The message here is loud and clear. Everyone expects Duke to roll. But hey, not every game is expected to be a blowout. In fact, this next one between number 3 Texas Tech and number 6 BYU is pretty much the exact opposite. On paper, this is supposed to be the nail-biter of the round. And you can see it right there in the odds. Texas Tech is the favorite, sure, but only at minus 170. That makes BYU at plus 145 a very, very live underdog. I mean, this one feels like a total coin toss. It could absolutely go either way. And for our last quarterfinal, we've got number 2 Georgia taking on number 10 Oregon State. Now, what's really interesting here is that both teams have the exact same record, 12-1. But even so, Georgia's a pretty big favorite at minus 260. That tells you everything you need to know about how much tougher people think Georgia's schedule was. Okay, so we've seen the first round matchups, but how does that all shake out? Let's look at the path forward and see what the road to the championship could look like. So here's how the bracket breaks down. You've got two clear paths. On one side, you have the winner of the Boise State/Penn State game, and they'll almost certainly have to face Duke, who, as we saw, is a huge favorite. Then, on the other side, things get really interesting. The winner of that super tight BYU versus Texas Tech game gets to play the winner of Oregon State and Georgia. That could set up an absolutely epic semifinal between two powerhouse teams. All right, let's zoom out. We've seen the path, we've seen the matchups, but who has the best shot to win the whole shebang? Let's look at the title favorites.
So these are what are called futures odds. It's basically a bet on who will win the entire tournament. And right at the top of the list, you've got Duke and Georgia, looking like the two strongest contenders. Right behind them are Penn State and Oregon State.
And this chart really drives that point home. Duke and Georgia are the undeniable frontrunners here. You can see their slices of the pie are the biggest. In the eyes of the experts, they're kind of in a league of their own.
So what does this all mean? Well, if you follow the odds, if everything plays out the way the experts predict, all signs are pointing to a massive championship showdown between the number 1 and number 2 teams, Duke versus Georgia. But that leaves us with one last big question, right? The odds are just a roadmap. They tell us what should happen. But we all know that's not what makes the postseason so great. It's the upsets, the Cinderella stories, the moments that nobody sees coming. So yeah, the numbers point to the favorites, but does this tournament ever really, truly go according to plan? I guess we're all about to find out.
Welcome to the debate. This week, we're looking at a real collision of philosophies in the college football playoff. You've got the established, hegemony of the Georgia Bulldogs versus the sycophant, the tactical disruption of Caleb Ward's Oregon State Beavers.
Right.
So the central question is basically a referendum on modern team building. Can a tactician, a coach who relies on scheming and manipulation, can he topple a CEO dynasty that's just built on brute force and talent? I'm arguing that Ward's adaptability makes this a real fight.
And I'm going to argue that while Oregon State's run is a great story, the structural realities of the sport, specifically the talent gap in the trenches, it just heavily favors that CEO model. Georgia isn't just a team, it's an institution built to crush variance. You just can't outthink physics at the end of the day.
Well, Ward's entire mandate at Oregon State has been win with less. And, a 12-1 record kind of proves the concept works. Just look at the first round against Florida State. The Beavers held FSU to, 217 total yards and 0% red zone efficiency? That wasn't luck. It was Ward treating the field like a chessboard. He uses what he calls his Bible offense, not just for size, but for the devotion it demands. It's a dense, high-volume system designed to have an answer for literally every look.
Okay, but you see that 12-1 record and you see brilliance. I see the Week 7 loss to Duke, and I see a ceiling. Losing 37-24 to Duke is exactly what happens when that Bible gets too heavy to carry. Kirby Smart is what you call a level 80 CEO. In this world, that means his program it's maxed out. Recruiting, development, depth, it's all automated to perfection. He doesn't need to out-scheme you, he just out-recruits you. Georgia gave up, 20.9 points per game and had 41 sacks? You can't just scheme around a D-line that's faster than your running backs.
I think the Duke loss wasn't a ceiling. It was the catalyst for his quarterback gambit. Ward saw his scheme needed a mobile improviser, not a pocket statue like Melick Murphy. So benching Murphy for Gabari Johnson in Week 8 against, mind you, number 7 Iowa State, that was a masterstroke. Johnson's mobility unlocked the RPO game Murphy couldn't run. The result? A 52-24 blowout where Johnson starts the game 10 for 10. Ward realized he had to sacrifice arm talent for fluidity, and that willingness to pivot is why he's so dangerous. He isn't protecting egos, he's exploiting margins.
Exploiting margins or just signaling instability. Come on. Relying on a mid-season quarterback swap is not a sign of genius. Sure, Johnson's mobility worked against Iowa State, but Georgia's linebackers have NFL speed. They don't just contain scrambles, they erase them. If Ward tries to get cute with Gabari Johnson against a Kirby Smart defense, those margins for error just completely disappear. Johnson fumbled against Washington State. Georgia turns that into 6 points. You don't experiment against a defensive front like this.
You're underestimating his proven ability to shapeshift. Look at the Oregon game, Week 4. Ward walked in and deployed a completely different offensive playbook, a zone-only defense, with safeties playing 25 yards deep just to nullify the vertical threat. And they won 42-10. He essentially rewrote his team's identity for a single Saturday. He did it again against FSU, played a perfect disciplined game with 0 penalties. He doesn't need to beat Georgia 10 times. He just needs to build one specific 60-minute nightmare for them.
But the cognitive load on those players is immense. Shifting from a 4-2-5 to a 3-3-5 works until you face a team that can just run you over. And you mentioned that 3-3-5. Do you know what happens if you play a light box against Georgia? Their offensive line, averaging 320 pounds, will just maul you. Complexity invites confusion, and confusion slows you down. Georgia's identity is simple. They're physical, they're fast, and they do not beat themselves. Ward is trying to hack this system, but the CEO model is self-correcting. It relies on excellent standards, not trickery.
I think this system is self-correcting until it sees data it can't categorize. Ward's efficiency, nearly 30 minutes of possession against FSU, that suggests a team weaponizing the clock. They're shortening the game. By limiting possessions, they increase the impact of every single high-variance play. They don't need to out-recruit Georgia's depth chart. They just need to keep that defense on the field and wear them out mentally.
Shortening the game is the classic underdog fallacy. It only works if you can survive the line of scrimmage. Georgia rotates future NFL starters on their defensive line. By the fourth quarter, Oregon State's guys will be playing their 60th snap against fresh 5-star recruits. Attrition is the ultimate weapon of the CEO. You can drop up all the plays you want, but when your right tackle is getting collapsed into the quarterback's lap, while your drawing board becomes pretty irrelevant.
Ward has taken a stagnant program to the Sugar Bowl by valuing precision over prestige. If he can pivot quarterbacks and completely overhaul his defense to beat Oregon and FSU, he has a blueprint. He represents a future where parity is achieved through intellectual flexibility.
And while Ward is a brilliant architect, college football is played on grass, not on paper. Kirby Smart's Georgia is built to crush these Cinderella stories through pure attrition. The CEO model endures because it minimizes risk, whereas Oregon State needs every single one of those high-risk adjustments to hit perfectly just to stay in the game.
So ultimately, this game really asks whether the future of the sport belongs to the accumulators of talent or the masters of tactics. There is, of course, a lot more to explore here, and we encourage you to dig into the tape. Thank you for listening to The Debate.
4 teams have battled through the opening round of the college football playoff, and now the pressure and the intensity continue to mount as we go to the quarterfinals, moving away from home sites and onto neutral fields. What's the bigger factor, the battle-tested team or the better-rested team? Welcome to the Caesars Superdome in New Orleans, site of the All-State Sugar Bowl, part of the college football playoff. As we'll see the number 10 seed in this playoff, the Oregon State Beavers, taking on the number 2 seed in the playoff, the Georgia Bulldogs. 3A Sports College Football, I'm Chris Fowl, here in the booth with Kirk Hermstreet. Time to find out who's going to be moving on in the college football playoff. The kickoff team is out there. Great energy as this playoff game is about to get underway. And the return starts just inside the end zone. Brought down to the 32, so good job by the returner there. So the Georgia Bulldogs offense going to get the chance to start this game off. Got a matchup on paper, Kirk, that really seems to favor this dominant defense. And unless this offense can do something special, it feels like yards and first downs are going to be hard to come by today.
What this defense does a really good job of is negating any ability at all to run the football. Puts you in obvious passing situations, and then they turn it loose and get after the quarterback. I feel bad for the offensive line and especially the quarterback today.
Off the play fake, looking to throw on first down. Heavy pressure, he lets it go.
Well, everybody talks about sacks, and they're very important. but sometimes just the rush, the pressure, affecting the quarterback is just as effective. He didn't have a clean throwing lane, and they forced the incompletion.
Big moment early in his playoff game. They face a third down on the opening drive. Back to pass. It's Stockton. Defense is coming after him. Oh, they trap him for a sack.
It just looked like the quarterback was holding on to the ball a bit too long that time, allowed the defense to be able to get the pressure, and they come up with a first sack of the game.
The Dogs will send their punt team onto the field. Trying to kick it away, helping his team with field position. And the returner is tackled by this punt coverage team. So the Beavers offense out there for their first possession. Let's check out the impact players in this game, Kirk. Guys that are going to have to step up and deliver. The teammates look to them. Coaches are counting on them today.
Chris, I think these are the guys that show the most consistency, and I think that's why we're showcasing them. And they're going to have to be able to step up and not only make plays, I think provide the leadership. Coaches told us all week that these are the guys that really are unique within this program, and hopefully they play well today. What a great job to be able to establish some rhythm to an offense. When you can run the football like this, it just opens up the playbook. You can continue to run, you can go to play action, and really keep the defense on their heels when you can run the ball like this. Nice play.
Grab near the sticks. It's Walker. He's tackled quickly, but the yardage is good enough for the first down. Great start to the drive. Back-to-back explosive plays, and now another first down. An inside give now from the shotgun. And the defense smothers him for no gain.
Well, if he would have stayed on his track and stayed more to the inside, I think that play opens up for a nice gain. Instead, he's looking for the big play, bounces it to the outside, and there's just too much speed on that defense.
The offense facing a tough conversion here. 3rd and long from the 42. Dropping back, looking to throw for the first down. Here's a screen pass to the running back. He's finding some room at the 45. And that play moves the ball across midfield. First down now from the 42. And the Beavers pick up enough for a first down here. They'll run it to the left. Slams right into a wall. They've got him for a loss. And they don't block the defensive end, who shows some quickness for getting around the edge that time.
Yeah, this guy's usually getting around the edge to put pressure on the quarterback, but he reminds everybody here that this guy's a complete package. Not only can he pressure the quarterback, but also he is very, very talented and shows you the physicality he has against the run as well.
As the tight end flexed out into the slot, looking for a matchup there, Kirk.
Well, it is a matchup because he has the size where he's very difficult to be able to match up for a safety, and he's got the speed to be able to outrun a linebacker. That's why they like to flex him out like that and be able to pick up nice big gains like this.
Really solid first down gain. He's just short of the marker, so maybe a chance here to take a downfield shot. Here comes a crucial second down play. Every yard tough to find down here in the red zone. He decides to keep it here. And the defense comes up with the football.
You know, I like this quarterback's ability in the option game. He just doesn't do a good job of protecting the football here. You've got to be dialed in with your fundamentals, or it can cost you at any moment.
And the Bulldogs offense is back out on the field. Last time was a quick 3 and out. Can they get a drive going this time? From the shotgun now, here's an inside give. Solid run, moves the ball out across the 20 to the 21. Getting set, here's second down. Receiver in motion now. And the tailback's got it again. They test the middle of the defense, but get nothing.
How about the timing here by the defense to shoot that gap? As an offensive lineman, you have to anticipate that, close that gap off. Otherwise, it could be a long day.
Looking to pass. It's Stockton. Throws to the tight end. What a catch! They bring him down, but he makes the 40-yard line. That's a solid gain. Georgia getting set with a 1st and 10 now. Caught behind the line. It's Branch. Defense surrounds him. Just a short gain on that completion.
We see this all over the country now in college football. Defensive backs staying back a little bit deeper, forcing the quarterback to have to throw things in front. I like the decision here by the quarterback because he gets positive yards. It's a good way of staying ahead of the chains.
And he will be stuffed for no gain.
The offensive line does everything they can to try to protect the quarterback, to give him enough time to find an open receiver. But there's nobody there downfield. He ends up throwing it to the back. But how about the speed of this defense? Now, you're looking at a 3rd down.
Oh, the pass rush gets home.
Good pressure here by this defense, but it felt like the quarterback held onto the ball a little bit too long to come up with that sack for the D.
The Dogs will have to punt this one away. Looking to kick it away for the 2nd time. And here's the return. Oh, he's got a crease here. Look out. Touchdown, Oregon State, as they claim the lead here in this playoff game. We go back and forth, but that special teams touchdown could be the defining moment of this playoff game.
Man, that returner struck like lightning. That was a spectacular play when you need to pull off a play where you're going to need it at some point.
And it's 7-0 after the PAT. Kickoff team out there. They are fired up after just scoring a touchdown. Well, he thought about coming out, but instead takes a knee to bring the football to the 25-yard line. And the first play of the drive now from the 25. Keep it on the ground. There's the handoff. Stopped right there at the line. No gain. Well, Kirk, Oregon State has the lead here. We've reached the end of one in this quest to move one step closer to a national championship. Let's check out the stats so far. Through one period, these teams are finding out that playoff games just feel different. Who can handle the nerves better as we head to the 2nd? Here we go. First play of the quarter. Offense setting up for a 2nd down play. Off an RPO, the quarterback looks to his right. Powering through a tackle. They bring him down, but an explosive play by this offense. Big game.
So much pressure on the defense against the RPO because you're always going to be wrong if it's executed correctly. Here, the ball on the ground. Defense picks it up on the run. That is tough for the ball carrier here because not only does he take a big hit, but now you're about to get an earful from your coach on the sideline after that turnover.
Oregon State's offense back out on the field now. They moved it well last time. Got across the 50, but then fumbled the football away. And there's the handoff. The gain is 3 yards, so 2nd and 7.
Hey, listen, you don't always have to have big plays to be successful. It's a nice, solid gain here. Keeps you on schedule, and you get ready for that next play.
The throw, it's Johnson. He's running out of time here. He breaks free. Slides to avoid the big hit.
Man, it is fun to watch this guy get out in the open field. I didn't realize he could run like this. That's a big game for this offense.
New set of downs for the offense. 1st and 10. Takes the handoff and he'll head left. Nowhere to run up the middle.
Things just appear to be a bit out of sync from the get-go on that one. Give credit to the front 7 of that defense for staying in the proper lanes and getting to the ball carrier, not let him dance around and make something out of nothing.
Moves out of the pocket. Goes to his right side there for the completion. And he's run out after a big gain. The offense will be set up with a first down and goal.
Chris, a great ability by this quarterback to get outside of the pocket and place the football right where it needs to be for the first down.
And the quarterback just sneaks it. Bowlers all the way to the end zone. Touchdown, Beavers.
Chris, that's what I love about this quarterback. It's a great touchdown, but he shows you his versatility. We know he can throw it, but here he shows you his speed and how he can make the defense pay for that as well.
And the extra point was up and good. So after putting up a touchdown, the kickoff team is out there to boot it away. He's going to bring it out of the end zone from a couple yards deep. Solid job by the coverage team. They bring him down at the 16. And the Georgia offense is back out on the field. That fumble in the last possession set up a touchdown. Can they bounce back from that costly error here? Looking for his big tight end. Oh, he's wide open. Look out. Stop at the 43, but that's enough to make a first down.
Just a really good ball here to be able to pick up this first down for the Georgia offense. And, you know, being able to have a balanced attack, so important in modern college football, and Georgia does that as well as anybody.
Again, thrown out of the RPO, and it's complete. Runner scoots out of bounds after gaining decent yards.
Well, this is why they want to get his hands on the football as often as possible. We always know about his ability to make plays downfield, but here they just get it to him quick on a wide receiver screen. He shakes the tackle and picks up nice yards.
That one falls incomplete. Looking for a flag, doesn't get it. Brings up third down.
You get a tight end like this, and you know he's used to dishing out the punishment, but here, he's the one that has to absorb the contact, and as a result, he's unable to hold on to the football.
Back to throw again. On the run here. Lets it go. And it's incomplete again. Fourth down coming up. The Dogs will bring their punt team on the field now. He's on to boot it away now. Here's the punt, high in the air. Fair catch made at the 20. Oregon State's offense trots back out on the field. Remember, last time they scored a touchdown. Can they keep clicking here, or the defense come up with a stop? Game moves the ball out past the 25-yard line.
Hey, nice RPO here by the offense. Defense is going to sit back, make it easy on the quarterback, hand it off up the middle. Nice solid game. Stay ahead of the chains.
Running out of time in the pocket. He cannot escape. It's a sack.
Well, if you're going to be able to play in the SEC and be a dominant team, you have to have defensive linemen like this right here. We've seen that from Georgia over the years. They've been incredibly blessed to have defensive linemen that can hold up against the run, also have the ability to do this right here, which is pressure the quarterback and come up with those sacks.
The Beavers will have to kick this away. And this will be the first punt for this offense this afternoon. No fair catch. Looking to make a return here. Good effort by the return man. They get him down, but that's a solid gain on the return. And the powerful Georgia offense is back out on the field. The last drive, they came up empty, had to kick it away. Can they come up with something here? On first down, it's play action. Fires into the wideout. Caught over the middle. It's Branch. Tackle, but first down.
Boy, another positive game for this offense, and this quarterback continues to show how dangerous he is when he has time to throw. The defensive coordinator's got to change up his looks, maybe bring in the blitz, anything they can do to get this quarterback out of this rhythm.
Receiver brought down after a short pitch and catch. Important second down play coming up. Takes the handoff. It's Frazier. And he goes nowhere. Stopped cold behind the line of scrimmage. They're backed up here trying to make something happen on third and long. Looking downfield. It's Stockton. Grab down the middle. It's Bell. That moves the football to the 27 and a first down. This Georgia offense is moving quickly down the field. It's the 2-minute timeout. This offense running out of time to cut into this lead before the break. This offense trying to get going has put together a positive drive here in the second quarter. On 1st and 10, they'll look to throw it. Physical defending. That one falls incomplete. Brings up 2nd down. Incompletion makes it 2nd down and 10 from the 27. They'll look to throw it here on 2nd down. Finds that big tight end for a short pass. And he runs out of bounds. That's a big gainer there.
I mean, we're not even to halftime yet, and I don't think this guy wants to take a break once we get to the half. That's his 5th catch and counting.
1st and goal. A good chance to chip away at the lead before halftime. Touchdown, Georgia. A much-needed counterpunch delivered.
Well, that's a thing of beauty right there. Good job all around. Offensive line gave the quarterback enough time. Quarterback puts it right on the money. And with this receiver running a route like this, makes it pretty simple. All you have to do is get his head turned around, catch that football. He's already in the end zone for the touchdown.
And the point after is right down the middle. You got momentum after scoring that touchdown. Now the kickoff team out there to kick it away. Kick bounces out of the back of the end zone for a touchback. And the first play of the drive now from the 25. Off the play fake, looking to throw. Fires it to the wideout. Oh, it's picked off. What a play. Not a long return, but the pick changes possession. The offense will take over at the 28.
Really nice job of mixing up the looks here by this defense. Sometimes man, sometimes zone. They fool the quarterback here completely, and he throws the pick.
Pressure is coming. It's incomplete. He was hit as he threw. Good pass rush there on 1st down.
I'm all for quarterbacks trying to make plays. I love to see the fight in a guy and wants to make a play on every single chance that he can make. But here, when you scramble and you throw the ball way back against your body, you're asking for trouble. So lucky that ball didn't get intercepted.
The offense was given a short field. Now can the defense come up with a huge stop here on 3rd down? Back to throw. It's Stockton. It's a fly to the wideout. Caught over the middle. It's Bell. Going down, but it's enough to convert on 3rd down and set him up 1st and goal at the 10. Georgia setting up for the 1st and 10 now. Movement here from the tight end. 1st down. We're going to throw the football. And it's incomplete. The defender arrived the same time as the football. And now it's 2nd down. Press coverage now from the secondary. Moving the receiver around pre-snap. 2nd down. We're going to throw it. He's got it, looking for the end zone. And he gets in for the score. Touchdown, Dogs. Well, this college football playoff game is all tied up. And Kirk, it's beginning to feel a little bit like a shootout.
Yeah, it is. It's a battle of the offenses. Both these teams right now executing flawlessly. And they're doing so with such high stakes. Answering one score with another. Neither team is backing up 1 inch.
And they're able to tack on the extra point. And with that extra point, we're all tied up now in the second quarter. So after the touchdown, here's the kickoff, and we'll see if the opposing offense has time to answer before halftime. And it's fielded. Returner trying to create a big play here. Will be tackled at the 18. That's good coverage there. Offense out there for the first play of this drive from the 18. 1st down, looking to throw the ball. The pocket breaking down. They stop him after a 6-yard gain, so 2nd and 4. The offense will now quickly spend a timeout.
That's what I really love about this quarterback. Looks downfield, everybody's covered. Instead of just throwing this ball away, he's got the athletic ability to make this defense pay for it by picking up some good yards.
He's going to take a shot down the left side. The outfield shot is incomplete. Brings up 3rd down.
Well, the name of the game for this defense is to pressure this quarterback as often as you can, and that's exactly what they've been able to do here in this first half. It looks like they've got him rattled a bit, as that pass should have been his second interception in the first half alone.
They tackle him at the 38. Solid gain. Nice play there. The offense will quickly spend a timeout here after the play. At completion, good for a first down. The offense working with a new set of downs here. Increasing out motion from the offense. Dropping back, it's Johnson. The pass rush closing in. And that pass is incomplete. No idea who he was trying to throw it to.
It's pretty simple as a defensive coordinator. When the quarterback drops back to throw, if we get pressure on him, we got a chance to slow him down and win the football game. If we don't, could be a long afternoon. Good job here by dialing up the pressure.
And the receiver snags it. It's complete. And now the offense will call a timeout. Something the coach didn't like about this. Crucial play coming up. So the offense looking to be efficient here. Not much time remaining before the end of the half. Try to pick up the third and short through the air. A deep shot to the left side. And it falls incomplete with just 6 seconds remaining to play.
Boy, the timing here by this defensive back, that is tough to do. You know, we always use the term great ball skills by a receiver, but here the corner locates the football and knocks it away. Great play.
And the Beavers will send the punt team onto the field. And he'll kick it away now for the second time. And the returner elects to fair catch it. No return. Final seconds in the first half. They will just take a knee and head to the locker room. Looks like the offense is content to run out the clock here and just take it to intermission. And that will do it for the first half here. Kevin Connors now has our halftime update.
Thanks, Chris. Exciting, action-packed, enormous drama. Talk about a first half of football. And talk about a good, competitive game so far. Not saying this has been the best first half we've seen in the history of these two programs, but they've matched each other's intensity, and the result has been a very evenly played game. Fascinating to see how the rest of this one plays out.
Welcome to the debate. We are recording live at halftime of the College Football Playoff Round 2. The scoreboard reads 14-14. On one side, you have the Georgia Bulldogs, the absolute standard of excellence in this sport. On the other, the Oregon State Beavers, a team that was, stagnating just a year ago under the old regime.
It really is the defining Cinderella story of the 2025 season. But the central question we have to answer is, I think, simple. Is this 14-14 tie the result of a sustainable architectural overhaul by first-year coach Caleb Ward? Or are we watching a team riding a historically improbable wave of defensive variance and special teams chaos that is, about to crash? I'm arguing the latter, that the architect narrative is masking a house of cards.
And I see why you'd think that, but let me give you a different perspective. This is exactly what winning with less looks like in practice. Ward promised a schematic recalibration, not a rebuild. And the evidence is in that pivotal Week 8 decision. Ward benched Malik Murphy, a pocket passer who was statistically very efficient, for Gabari Johnson, a dual-threat runner. That wasn't just a personnel swap. It was a philosophical shift that unlocked the explosive potential we saw in that 52-24 rout of Iowa State.
Okay, but that Iowa State game is exactly where my skepticism begins. You look at 52 points and you see offensive genius. I look at the play-by-play and I see 3 non-offensive touchdowns in the first quarter alone. A 98-yard kickoff return by Zachary Card, followed by 2 fumble returns for touchdowns on kickoffs by Oluwase Omatosho and Amari York. The offense didn't explode. They were spotted 21 points before they broke a sweat. If you remove that special teams chaos, that game looks very, very different. The defense was ranked 19th nationally early on. They are the engine, not the QB switch.
I'm not convinced by that line of reasoning because you can't penalize a team for being elite in the third phase of the game. But let's talk about the offense specifically. The switch to Johnson, it unlocked the power spread elements of Ward's offense. When you have a QB who forces the defense to account for him in the run game, it changes the arithmetic in the box. Look at the Washington State rematch in Week 14. Johnson accounted for 5 touchdowns. He stresses a defense horizontally and vertically in a way Murphy simply couldn't. That 42-10 win over Oregon earlier in the year was methodical, sure, but it lacked the ceiling required to compete with a team like Georgia.
It increased the ceiling, yes, but here's my point. It completely removed the floor. You call it dynamic, I call it volatile. In that same Washington State game, Johnson fumbled on the 6th play for a defensive touchdown. He's thrown a pick in this game against Georgia. Currently at halftime, the offense has generated just 134 total yards and is averaging, 3.6 yards per rush. Murphy completed 88% of his passes against Oregon. It was boring maybe, but it kept the defense off the field. Right now, Johnson is high risk, and the Georgia defense is cashing in on those risks.
That's an interesting point regarding the volatility, though I guess I'd frame it differently. The risks are calculated. This goes back to Ward's offensive philosophy, which they call the Bible. It's a multiple offense system designed to be roster agnostic. So they aren't married to one style. Against Oregon, they saw a light defensive box, so they ran Anthony Hankerson down the throats for almost 10 yards a carry. Against Georgia, they can't do that. They need Johnson's volatility to create big plays, because they cannot win a trench war against this SEC defensive line. The fact that they are tied proves the adaptation is working. They are shifting schemes, going from a 4-2-5 to a 3-3-5 on defense, and just finding ways to hang around.
But is the adaptation working, or is Zachary Card bailing them out again? The only reason we are tied 14-14 is because Card returned upon 91 yards for a touchdown in the first quarter. That isn't a system, that's an anomaly. You saw it against Kentucky in Week 12 too, relying on a 49-yard fumble return by Tyree Hill to pull away. That's not the architect designing a masterpiece. That's relying on chaos. You just can't build a championship program on the hope that your opponent will drop the ball or that your return man breaks a 90-yarder every week.
I think you're separating luck from preparation a bit too sharply. Ward's mantra from day one has been, you don't need to beat them in recruiting, you need to beat them on Saturday. When you are at a talent disadvantage, you prioritize special teams and turnover generation. That is the architecture. They forced a fumble against Georgia late in the half, and Johnson punched it in for a 1-yard score. That isn't luck. That's complementary football. The system is designed to maximize every mistake the opponent makes.
Complementary football is great, but eventually the ball doesn't bounce your way. If the offense cannot sustain drives and 3.6 yards per carry suggests they can't, that defense will gas out. You can only survive on the margins for so long before the talent gap in the trenches takes over. That's a compelling argument you're making about preparation. But if Johnson throws another pick like he did earlier, there won't be a punt return to save them.
We have 30 minutes left to find out. My stance holds. Ward took a roster of under-recruited talent and installed a belief system and a scheme flexible enough to stand toe-to-toe with the #1 team in the country. The calculated risks gave them a seat at the table.
And my view remains that the underlying metrics, yards per play, offensive consistency, they suggest Oregon State is living on borrowed time. If the special teams magic runs out in the second half, the architect might just find his building collapsing.
Chaos or calculus? We're about to find out in the second half. Thank you for listening to the debate.
So we'll kick it off to begin the second half. And that one will bounce out of the back of the end zone. The offense will start at the 25. Oregon State's offense back out on the field now. They're looking for some points to jump on top here as we get the third quarter going. First play of the second half is a handoff. The pickup is 7 yards. Now it's 2nd and 3. They'll go with the ground game here. Running back takes the handoff. Good enough for a fresh set of downs. They'll spot the ball at the 40.
Offensive linemen are just a certain breed. They're always going to do their job, no matter who's back there carrying the ball. I'll tell you what, they have a little bit more confidence when the person that's carrying the ball can break off some big-time runs. That makes them block just a little bit harder, knowing what he's potentially capable of doing.
Offense behind the 6 now in 2nd and 11 after the 1-yard loss. Dropping back, it's Johnson. Pass ball is incomplete. There was a lot of contact. No penalty. Brings up 3rd down. Not going to be easy here. Backed up a long way to go for a first down. Drops back, looking to throw for it on third down. Short connection to the tight end here. And the defense wraps him up quickly. Got about 5 yards on the completion, and now it's fourth down. The Beavers will line up to kick it away. No chance for a return. That football bounces away from the returner and heads out of bounds. And the Bulldogs offense is back out on the field. And looking to throw now on first down. Lets it go quickly. He makes the ground. Heads out of bounds after a solid gain, more than enough to pick up a first down. Big guys up front line up. It's first down. Wants to throw it. Spins away from defenders. Defense reacts quickly. A very short gain on the play.
One thing we know for sure, I don't know as a play caller, you can make that call without a quarterback who can throw it with a big arm. He put that on a rope.
Grab down the middle. It's Bell. To get him down quickly, not much of a gain on that completion. Short completion. A third down play coming up. Out of the gun now on third down. Caught over the middle. It's Branch. Makes the defender miss. And they get the conversion there. Set up now first down at the 38.
Well, when you play zone defense on third down and you don't get pressure from your defensive line, you're going to give a quarterback a lot of time to be able to find an open receiver and eventually get the first down. Not surprised at all that they're able to convert.
And he's brought down after a short gain. Does not make the first down yardage. What's the play call here on second down for this offense? Looking to pass. It's Stockton. Grab behind the line. It's Frazier. Heads out of bounds after a solid gain. They beat the blitz there with the pressure bearing down. He just dumped it off to the back.
A nice job of just keeping his eyes downfield because you're right, that pressure got to him in a hurry. Thankfully, the running back was right in his line of sight. He's able to dump it to him as a safety valve, and he picked up the first.
And it's incomplete even on a first down throw. He was under some heavy pressure. So second and 10 here as they try to stay out of third and long here in this tie game in the third quarter. Play fake, looking to throw. Deep shot toward the end zone. Oh, and he cannot quite hold on down there in the end zone. Would have been a great pick. Instead, a third down play coming up. The offense was moving well, but two incompletions sets up a 3rd and 10. Looking to throw yet again. Taking a shot deep toward the end zone. Oh, he dropped it. He could not hang on for a touchdown. My goodness. So now on fourth down, out comes the field goal unit. And he's got it. No problem.
Snap, the hold, the kick, everything there perfect to put 3 points up here for the offense.
Following the field goal, the kickoff team is out there now. So it'll be a touchback. Ball spotted at the 25. Oregon State's offense trots back out on the field. They were forced to punt it away last time, so let's see if they can get clicking in this possession. And on the carry, he's heading left. Breaking free at the 35. They bring him down at the 44. That's a solid gain, getting closer to midfield now.
Just what a great battle here at the line of scrimmage. Good push by the offensive line, and the back does enough to be able to pick up the first down.
Running game is working. They'll stick with it on first down. They get him down, but that's a solid gain.
I tell you, to be able to pick up a nice gain like that, those offensive linemen have to sustain their blocks. Gave them a chance and a really nice gain.
Offense getting set. Second down play here. Caught near the sticks. It's Williams. Not much after the catch, but it is good enough for a first down. And the Beavers come to the line to start a fresh set of downs. And the single back takes the handoff. Take it down, but not before he makes the first down.
nice RPO here by the offensive coordinator and a big gain by the back. But let's give credit to the quarterback. He saw that this defense was sitting back, worried about the pass, so instead of throwing it,
Swarm to the pass rush. A sack.
I like the call here, but you can't run long, developing play-action passes like that if the offensive line is not going to give the quarterback time to throw.
First down sack. Pushes the ball back. Second down coming up. Scanning the field. It's Johnson. Tackle finally made. That's a very solid gain, but not close to first down yardage yet.
Just a good job of spreading the wealth, making sure everybody's getting their touches. When you do that, the defense can't lock in on one guy or two guys. Make them have to be aware of everybody.
Oh, down he goes. It's a sack. So you're on fourth down. Out comes the field goal team. Well, Kirk, it's Georgia on top so far. Sitting in a pretty good spot as you wrap up the third quarter, trying to keep those national championship hopes alive. Let's take a quick look at the game stats where we have a chance. All right, here comes the fourth quarter. Everything to play for here. Who is going to stay alive, survive, and advance in the college football playoff? So on fourth down, out trots the place kicker in a very big spot here. And he's got it from 49 yards out. What a powerful kick.
Man, I tell you, life of a kicker. This guy's not been called on the entire game. Probably cold as ice on the sideline. But when it matters, he's hot as a stove when his number's called.
And he takes this from inside the 5. Look at that, he's still going. And the return man steps out of the 28. And the Georgia offense is back out on the field. They settled for a field goal last time out. They're looking for the end zone here, no doubt. Looking to throw it on first down. Grab down the middle. It's Bell.
Love the timing here between the quarterback and his receiver. Pick up some positive yards, and I continue to be impressed with just the chemistry between these two.
Off play action, he's looking to throw. Over the middle, it's Thomas. They finally get him down, but it's a chunk play through the air.
I love how this quarterback is finding this slot receiver. Not only is he tough to handle, but it's what he's doing after the catch. He has such wiggle and quickness. He's tough to bring down, and you see more positive yards after the catch here.
And it's a comeback route. Touchdown, Bulldogs. A catch and run by the big tight end. What a weapon this guy is. Well, Kirk, this quarterback told us this is my time to shine, a playoff game. He has gone out and backed that up so far.
Yeah, he's done everything that's been asked of him and more. Just a great job of getting into a rhythm. Really tough to defend. Right now, the defensive coordinator, you can see him down there. He's throwing his headset. He's frustrated. He's got to come up with some new wrinkles to try to slow this guy down.
And that one will bounce out of the back of the end zone. So a touchback. He'll start at the 25. Oregon State's offense back out on the field now. After a field goal the last time out, we'll see what they can get here. Handoff heading left. 5-yard gain, so it's 2nd and 5.
I think this defense keeps thinking about them throwing the football, and by doing that, they're opening up running lanes. Good positive yards there by the running back.
Looking to throw. It's Johnson. Makes a quick catch. And that will pick up the first down. They'll spot it at 38. A new set of downs after that completion. And the ball is handed off out of the shotgun.
Boy, positive yards there on 1st and 10. Good job up front by that offensive line. Good hard running by this running back. And now you got a lot of options. That playbook can really open up on second inches.
Second down after that run in the previous play. They'll feed the back again. There's the tackle, but first down yardage.
Just a great play by the running back here, finding his lanes and then exploding through the gap when it opened up.
The Beavers are moving quickly down the field. Here comes a first down pass attempt. Bringing pressure. Oh, they trap him for a sack.
Well, that takes the wind right out of your sails. This offense is trying to find a way to get back into this game, and another pressure and a sack against their quarterback.
A sack sets up a second down and very long. Catch made in space. Look out. You make the tackle, but not before he gets all the way to the 30.
You know, each receiver brings something a little bit different to the table, Chris. To me, the outside receivers usually are a little bit longer, taller guys. You get those slot receivers in the inside, not only can they make the catch, but they have quickness to make plays after the catch.
A dramatic finish, marching toward a tying touchdown. It's 1st and 10. Out of the shotgun, he hands it off. The junior able to bring him down quickly.
Chris, you know, the spread era over the years has always grown offensively, but I've been always impressed with defenses that really build their defense to play in space, still have an ability to be sound at the line of scrimmage and defend a running game. It's exactly what we saw right there.
It's incomplete. That was caused by the defensive pressure. And now it brings up 3rd down.
I mean, this defense is having their way with this offensive line. That poor quarterback doesn't have a chance. Every time he drops back to throw, he's getting ear-holed. You better make some adjustments up front to give your poor quarterback a chance.
Tackle is made at the 8-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal right there. Great chance for the offense to tie the game. 1st and goal. From the shotgun, handoff inside.
But anything at this point in the game, when you get down to 1st and goal, get positive yards, that's a good thing. Now, what will they do here on 2nd goal? They spread this defense out, try to create some one-on-one matchups.
Dropping back, it's Johnson. Oh, the pass rush gets home.
And just like that, you squeeze the life out of this offense. That's another sack by this defense. They have been in that backfield the entire game, and a big reason why these guys are enjoying a lead.
Defense is coming after him. Gets the ball off as he's hit, but it's incomplete.
Oh, Chris, the quarterback and the receiver just not quite on the same page there on that 3rd down and long. But at this point in the game, you got to consider going for this. They need a touchdown.
So trailing in the final quarter of a close game, they're going to go for it on 4th and goal. Quarterback drops back. Looking for 6. Pass caught. Can he get in? No, he didn't make it. They stopped him short on 4th down. That could be the play of the game, and that could do it. So the drive will begin from the 1-yard line, 99 away from the end zone. Now a timeout taken by the defense, trying to preserve as much clock as possible for their offense. Playoff game on the line here. Can the offense play keep away and secure the victory? Pounding away with the run game. Has the 1st down and more. They bring him down, but that's a solid gain on the play.
Chris, everybody in the stadium, including this defense, knew they were going to run the football just to get it away from the shadow of their own goal line. What's amazing is they were able to pop a big run like that. And if you're the defensive coordinator, it's got to be one of the most frustrating things. But let's give credit to the offense. They blocked it well and made it happen.
They continue to feed the running back, but he has had nowhere to go today. They've been getting owned at the line of scrimmage. Playoff dreams coming down to the final 2 minutes here. Offense looking to keep the football and secure the win.
Now they try to run it here on 2nd down, unable to get the 1st down. And now, late in a game like this, the big question, do you pass the ball potentially with an incompletion? The clock will stop, or do you play it safe and keep it on the ground?
Gonna run it. It's Frazier. Fighting for yardage, but the defense stops him just short of that 1st down marker. The Bulldogs will bring their punt team onto the field. That's his 4th punt already today. And the returner will be brought down. Oregon State's offense trots back out on the field. Here we go. Crucial situation. They've got time to run a few plays. The defense can't just back off here and play too passive. That one falls incomplete. Good defensive play. Brings up 2nd down.
All of this pressure and sacks are starting to impact this quarterback. You can sense that internal timer is sped up a bit more than usual.
Quick throw to the left side. Pulls incomplete, broken up by the defender nicely that time.
Now that's going to bring up a critical third down here as we're late into this football game and a drive where they need points. This quarterback's got to take control of this huddle, make sure everybody's on the same page. You have multiple plays that you could go to, whether it's a run or a pass, but you've got to come up with a first down.
They need to score quickly here, trying to dial up some big plays. To the air, it's Johnson. Taking a deep shot here late in the game. The pass is intercepted. Breaks into the open. Across midfield. One more big play to wrap up this game. What a great effort all game long by the defense. In these playoff games, it's win or go home. So one side can continue to dream about the national championship. The other side, suddenly, Kirk, their season is over. But it's been a good ride.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing. It's easy to focus on the team that advances, and they should be happy, obviously. They had a great year. They're going to continue to go on. But the team that comes up a little bit short, you can see the emotion down on the field right now. They put so much into this year. Hopefully they'll be able to learn from this and come back even stronger next year.
And that's going to do it. The winner survives and advances in the playoff bracket. We'll talk to you down the line. For Kirk Herbstreit, I'm Chris Fowler. This has been a presentation of EA Sports College Football.
Welcome to the debate. So 24-17 Georgia, that's the final score, but it feels like it's telling the wrong story. The narrative that's already settling over this CFP round 2 matchup is that Georgia's, their depth and recruiting stars just overwhelmed Oregon State. But we have to ask, did the Bulldogs win because they were just inevitably better? Or did Oregon State's architect, Caleb Ward, have the winning blueprint and just drop the hammer on his own toe? I'm looking at those 4- and 5-star recruits, and to me that talent gap wasn't just a narrative, it was the physics of the game.
See, and I think that's the lazy takeaway. I really do. If you look past the recruiting rankings, if you actually watch the game, this was a dead heat. The architect's strategy, it worked. It worked perfectly. Oregon State didn't lose because they were smaller or slower. They lost because they handed the ball over 3 times. This wasn't a talent gap at all. It was a discipline gap.
You can scheme all you want, but at the end of the day, you have to block and tackle guys like Gunnar Stockton and Oscar Delp. And that's where the whole raw talent argument stops being theoretical, right? Stockton wasn't just throwing for volume. He was dissecting their coverage. A 178.7 passer rating. I mean, that implies he saw the blitz and hit the hot route perfectly every single time. It's cerebral and physical. And you had Delt with 143 yards, Zachariah Branch with 2 touchdowns. When the game flow broke down, Georgia had guys who could just go make a play. That's the difference.
I get it. I get why the flashy plays stand out. But you're ignoring the system that nearly strangled Georgia. This is why they called Ward the architect. He built a system designed to hide any athletic deficits by shortening the game. You dominate possession, you limit their offense's exposure, you keep your own defense fresh. And for 22 minutes of possession to Georgia's 17, that blueprint was working. The total yards were tied, 400 to 400. That is statistical equivalence. The loss wasn't about being born more talented. It was about Oregon State committing 3 turnovers to Georgia's 1. The structure was sound, the execution was just sloppy.
But you have to look at how those yards were gained. That's the difference between, grinding and exploding. Georgia averaged 9.4 yards per pass attempt. Oregon State, 6.7. That disparity is massive. When you need a play, elite talent gives you a shortcut. Look at the fourth quarter, that game-winning 43-yard touchdown to Delp. I mean, that's the kind of explosive play that erases 20 minutes of tactical grinding in about 10 seconds. They didn't need possession time because they could strike instantly.
Okay, fair enough. The air attack was elite, I'll give you that. But if Georgia is so physically dominant, explain the trenches to me. Why could they only muster 10 rushing yards?
10 yards?
10. Total. That's 0.8 yards per carry. Meanwhile, Slona Ala ran for 101 yards by himself for the Beavers. This proves the win with less philosophy was working physically. They effectively neutralized Georgia's athletic advantage at the line of scrimmage, making the Bulldogs completely one-dimensional. You can't sit there and tell me a team that rushes for 10 yards is physically overwhelming anybody.
And yet that one dimension was unstoppable. That's the luxury of elite recruiting. Most teams have to run to set up the pass. Georgia is so talented, they can afford to just skip the setup. But let's talk about the game flow. So Oregon State jumps out to that 14-0 lead. To me, that felt like a fluke fueled by Zachary Card's 91-yard punt return. That's a special teams breakdown, not sustainable offense. Once the adrenaline wore off, Georgia's talent corrected the anomaly. Water finds his level.
I don't see it as a fluke at all. That 14-0 start was proof of concept. They were playing faster, they were hitting harder. The difference maker wasn't Georgia waking up or water finding its level. It was Jabari Johnson throwing 2 interceptions. Those are decision-making errors, not athletic deficits. If Oregon State plays a clean game, if they don't turn the ball over 3 times, the raw talent of Georgia loses. This game proved Ward's thesis. You don't have to beat them in recruiting to beat them on Saturdays. You just have to avoid beating yourself.
Well, we're going to disagree on the cause, but the result is the same. My takeaway is that talent provides a margin for error. Georgia could completely abandon the run, only 13 attempts all game, and still win because their passing game was untouchable. When your receivers are simply better than their defensive backs, you can afford to be one-dimensional.
And my takeaway is that the scoreboard lied about the gap between these programs. When you put up 400 yards against a team like Georgia and hold them to 10 yards rushing, well, the talent gap is non-existent on the field. Oregon State didn't lose to stars. They lost to their own mistakes.
It really is a Rorschach test for football philosophy, isn't it? Do you value the Jimmies and the Joes or the X's and the O's? This game gave us both.
Exactly. A lot closer than the narrative suggests.
And that's a wrap on this edition of State of the Beavers. Thanks for spending some time in the lodge with us today. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to subscribe on your favorite platform and leave us a review. It really helps the colony grow. Big thanks to our production team and, most importantly, to you for listening. Keep building, keep grinding, and we'll catch you on the next one. Until next time, this has been the State of the Beavers. Stay sharp out there.